people. But I equally knew I was forbidden to go there. So I was sort of grumpy. I'd asked permission to go and been firmly denied. I was sitting, I remember, one morning in Oxford, where I lived at the time, having breakfast, and I got a call from a man called Richard Madeley, I think that was his name, who ran something called the Minority Rights Group, which was publicized the rights of people who were overlooked or flooded by dams or turfed out of places, people like the indigenous of the Brazilian rainforest, that kind of person. And the MRG, Minority Rights Group, had published a paper on the tragedy, as they saw it, of Diego Garcia, the sort of insolent arrogance of both the British and the American governments. And this had been read by an Australian woman called Ruth Boydell, who lived in northern Queensland and who wanted to conduct a round-the-world single-handed circumnavigation of the planet on a little yacht which she had bought. And when she got to Cochin in India, she decided that she would try and get to Diego Garcia, but she was frightened because it was against the law and you would get your yacht confiscated and get into all sorts of trouble. So she wanted to go not alone, but with someone. So she got in touch with the Minority Rights Group in London to say, do you know anyone in England that's interested in Diego Garcia? And Richard Madeley said, I do know a chap. He's called Winchester, and he lives currently, I know he's writing this book, and he'd love to go. So Richard rang me up and said, here are the details. All I know is that she's in the harbor in Cochin in India, and her yacht is called the Sketty Bell, which is an unusual word. And that's all I can tell you about her. Why not see if you can track her down? She had no mailing address other than care of post offices that she intended to visit around the world. Now, this was the beginning of international telephone dialing. You could actually dial foreign numbers, providing you knew the code. And I knew you could dial the country code for India, I think it was 91. And you could dial the major cities, Bombay, Calcutta, Delhi, Madras. But I didn't think you could dial any further than that. But I knew, I'd never been to Cochin, but I knew there was a hotel in Cochin called the Bolgatti Palace. And I looked up its telephone number and I found its number and the city code for Cochin. So I thought, well, let's take a chance. Let's dial 001 to get out of England, 91 to get into India, 3392, which was the code for Cochin, and then whatever this long number for the Bolgatti Palace was. And I remember vividly sitting in my dressing gown with a cup of coffee, hearing the clicks and clacks, because in those days it wasn't electronic. There were what was called Strauger mechanical telephone exchanges, and you could hear them clicking in the background. And amazingly, it started ringing. This weird, because the Indian telephone service still has the double ring, 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 that's sort of British, whereas of course in North America and in it's a single ring. And someone picked it up, a chap with an Indian accent, hello. And I said, hello, I'm calling from England. Is that the Bolgatti Palace Hotel? And he said, yes, it was 7 years. I said, well, this is amazing. I didn't think I'd get through to you, but I tell you what. I'm trying to locate an Australian woman who has a yacht which you might be able to see in the harbor down below you. And he said, oh, you mean Miss Ruth? I said, you know her? Yes. He said, not only do I know her, but I'm the bartender here. And she's sitting in the bar opposite me. Ruth, there's a call for you from England. And this woman got on the line, hello? And I said, you don't know me, but my name's Simon Winchester, and I'm calling you from Oxford in England, and I want to go to Diego Garcia. And she said, my word, he said, all my prayers are answered. Have you ever sailed before? And I said, no. She said, well, you come here, I'll teach you how to.
Wow.
And so I flew over to Cochin, and there was this woman, and we sailed to Diego Garcia.
Hmm.
We went through the Maldives, and she taught me how to sail, and more importantly, taught me how to navigate
Hmm.
using celestial navigation. And we made it to Diego Garcia and got into frightful trouble, and were eventually deported because there was this classic moment